Hello everyone, welcome to 1045 Engineering, and today we are going to learn about this keyword in Java. Basically, this keyword is a reference to the current instance of a class in which it is used. It is primarily used to distinguish between instance variables and local variables or parameters that have the same name within a method or constructor. In essence, this points to the current object. Let's look at few of the use cases where we use this keyword. First one is being differentiating between variables and parameters. The second one is in constructor to form constructor chaining. And lastly, we use it also for method chaining for passing the current instance of the method. We'll look all of these examples all of these use cases one by one, and let's go through them. Okay, this is a basic use case where we use this keyword. If you can see, we are calling a setter method here, and we are getting a value, and our initial variable has the name value as well, and we use this dot value equal to value. So this dot value, this one refers to this value here, our internal variable, and this is the parameter that is being passed. Let's go through it via code example. Okay, let's start. Let's make a new file. Okay, so we are starting with a new class. Let's create a private variable. Okay, let's initialize it with some initial value 10. Let's create a setter, public void set number, int number, and now we are saying this dot number equal to number. Let's try and run this code. So this is basically how we are using it. Okay, we are saying this numbers parameters value will now be assigned to our internal variable, which is number again. Now since both of them have the same name or the same string number, we are using this to represent that this is representing to the instance variable. Let's quickly run this and check it. Public static void main. Okay, let's see if our code is running right now. Let's run it. Okay, we can run the code. The code is working fine. Now let's create object of our class, this example object equal to new this example. Okay, let's print the current value of the object, which is object dot number. So now this one will print the initial value of our variable, and now let's say object dot set number and pass 20. Again, let's print object dot number. Okay, as we can see, earlier the value was 10, now it has been changed to 20. So all this is showcasing is that we are using this keyword here to represent the value of the number or the parameter that is being passed in the function will now be assigned to our internal variable. And since both of them have the same number, same name, we are using this to reference to the internal number. Let's check to the next example. Next is in constructor chaining. So if you know, there are two types of constructor: parameterized constructor and non-parameterized constructor. Now what we are doing here is, if you see, we are just simply, this is the most simplest syntax. We are going to go through the code as well. What we are doing is we are simply calling the constructor of this method by passing the instance of the object. Let's understand this deeply with an example. Let's create another class for this. Let's name it this example 2. Okay, just for assurance, example for constructor chaining. Okay, we'll go same way, private int value equal to, let's 2, public this example 2. So we are creating a constructor, and now internally we are passing a value to this constructor. Now internally what we are doing is we are calling another parameterized constructor of the same class. So let's create a parameterized constructor, this example 2, int value, this dot value. Okay, let's quickly run it and check. Public is static void main string args return system.out.println. Let's see our code is working fine. This is also like a personal advertisement. Okay, yeah, okay. Now let's quickly check this example 2. First we'll create a object with the non-parameterized constructor, and now similarly let's create another object, new this example 2, and let's pass some value 20. Okay, at this point in time I would like you to guess what is going to be the output. Okay, value of object 1. So I'm going to call object 1 dot value. Similarly println value of object 2. Okay, small typo, object 2 dot value. Okay, let's run this. You see the first one is a non-parameterized constructor, this one, so it is directly simply calling this variable, right? But here the value of our internal variable was 2, but when I'm calling a non-parameterized constructor, now I'm passing the context of this method to another constructor, another parameterized next parameterized constructor, and I am passing this value. Now this value I'm passing using this object. You see we are not using anything else, we are passing it as the reference to this object. Now when we are passing it to the next one, so the first non-parameterized constructor is getting called here in this line, and then internally it is calling the second one and printing the value 10. Second time we are directly calling the parameterized constructor and it is printing the value simply 20. So if you see, we are passing the context of the object from one constructor to another and following a constructor chaining process in this. Let's look at the third use case. So last one is the passing the current object reference. Now we are going to pass the object reference from one class to another class method. So if let's understand this with the code example itself. Okay, let's create another class. We will call it this example 3. Okay, let's put the comments also for myself as well, so that later this can be used. Example to show usage of this in passing current object. Now we are going to pass the complete object from one method of one class to another class method. Private int value. Okay, public this example 3. We are creating a parameterized constructor, this dot value equal to value, and we are using the setter or the parameterized constructor here in this example to set the value for our variable value. Let's create a getter for this as well. Public int get value, return value. Okay, we're done here. Let's say public void, let's create some method, do something, and here we are going to make a call to another class. So we'll come back to this part. Let's quickly do the public static void main. By this time everyone would be well versed with this one. This is like the boilerplate thing. System.out.println 1045 engineering. Okay, this is going to run, we are aware. Let's create the example. Let's create the object for this class. Object equal to new, and let's pass the value 22. Okay, now we are going to call the method object dot do something. Now for this one to work, let's create another class. Let's create another class here only, and then call the object in another class. Another class public static. The reason we are making this method as static is, you are aware from our static video tutorial that static method can be called directly without having the need to create the object for them. Okay, and now I'm passing an object of another class. You see, this example 3 is the name of our class, this example 3. So this method is going to receive the object of this example 3, and let's print system.out.println processing this example 3 object with value. Okay, now I get the object and get value. Okay, now you can see what we are going to do is we are directly going to call the method in another class dot process. Okay, so now this method here is expecting an object of this type. Okay, and how can we pass this object? We are going to use this keyword. Let's say this, simple, that's it, no other change. Now what happened in our code is we created an object, we call the object.doSomething method. This method was called. Now internally it is calling a method from another class and passing the object reference of this class right here, this example 3, by just passing this as the keyword. And here we are expecting this example 3 object. Now since we got the object, we are able to get the value, and we are printing the value as 22. Okay, I hope that was clear to everyone. Let's move forward. So few of the key takeaways are, this is a reference to the current instance. It resolves variable name conflicts, as we saw in the first example, right? It is really helpful when you are, as a naming convention, if we go back here, we see this example as a naming convention. This is a number I want to change. When I'm putting a setter, I would still give it a value as number. Let's say if it was a PAN card, we write the PAN card here, we pass the PAN card only. We don't want to name it just as random string, right? In such cases, it helps us in resolving the conflict between the variables and the parameters that are being passed. Second is the constructor chaining. We already looked at the example. And the last one is passing the current object of a class to another methods or constructors. So this is all for today. Thank you everyone. This was all from this keyword in Java. Please like, share and subscribe, and if you have anything, please comment in the video.